Hey everyone, I'm Kadir and I'm the Sumo Support Community Manager. And I know what you're thinking, but it's not this kind of Sumo. Sumo is short for Support Mozilla.org, Mozilla support effort. When I joined Mozilla Support in February of last year, the main question I thought about was how do we support 400 million users worldwide in 80 languages with only 4 people on the Sumo team? So to give you the answer I arrived at, it's pretty impossible to give support to 400 million users in 80 languages with the support team of 4 people. You don't stand a chance. In fact, it's pretty similar to this one. So it's pretty clear. It only works when users help other users. You have to rely on your communities. But at the same time, you have to give the communities and contributors the best possible tools to do the job of supporting each and every user. I made that one of my top priorities at Sumo. So back in March, we assessed the situation to see what was really necessary to reach that goal. The first thing that comes to mind is a self-help system, aka a knowledge base. Now, why is a knowledge base important? We have 11 million users on Sumo per month by now. Without written documentation, everybody would have to ask his question in a forum. And that works if you have only a few users. But the more users you have, the less technical they are going to be, and the more they will need help. And answering 11 million questions a month isn't something I would be looking forward to. If you don't want to spend a huge amount of time answering questions, a written help is the best solution for users who don't have to wait for an answer, but also for people providing the help. In our case, the knowledge base had to be fully localizable, meaning that the localization of the UI and the articles had to be taken care of by the system. It shouldn't be just an afterthought, since for Firefox, 50% of all users don't use the English version. So localization is not just nice to have for us, it's essential. So localization had to be kept in mind for every part of the knowledge base, like when you make a change to the English version, what happens to the localized version, etc. And on Sumo we have 11 million people a month looking for support, and since we are held responsible for each and every step that we describe, we can't just let everyone and anyone change an article and show that changed article to thousands of users. We need a way to make sure that only reviewed articles are shown to the public. Another big problem in wikis is that there is usually no built-in way to communicate to other contributors. We had seen that problem over and over again. Someone new would contribute, but since he or she couldn't be reached to be applauded, cheered on, or just a thank you, the new contributor would not become a regular contributor. Just as important as communication with contributors is communication about articles. So we also need a way for those discussions to happen. The KB doesn't make a forum obsolete, but it reduces the load on the forums greatly. At Sumo, we often think about our process as a funnel. In an ideal case, people come to the website, get their problem solved by an article, and are happy users. And we can show that this is the truth for the majority of users coming to Sumo for help. But of course, it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes people have a problem and we don't have an article about that already. Or they can't find the correct article for a variety of reasons. In those cases, individual help has to kick in if we don't want to leave the user miserable and cursing Mozilla. In our case, that is a forum. There people get personal help and leave as happy users. Of course, the work isn't done when this one user has his problem solved. If we want to maintain a high-quality knowledge base where people find their answers rather than asking the question in the forum, we need to decide with every answer if the knowledge base needs to be extended or adapted. And sometimes, a real conversation with a human, even if it is in text form, is much preferred for people who would otherwise not bother with the forum and can't find an answer in the knowledge base. That is what live chat is used for. And to complete the puzzle, social support. As much as you would like it to be, not everyone knows about Mozilla's support site. Some people think Mozilla doesn't provide support because it is a free product. Others never bother to check. So just because people don't come to our support site, it doesn't mean that everyone is happy. Especially on Twitter, you can see people vent about a problem they have with some software. Those people need help, even if they don't come to our website. Not only are they suffering themselves unnecessary, but they also send a strong negative signal about the quality of Firefox to their friends. After all, Twitter is a social medium. But we can also use that aspect to our own advantage. By reaching out to those users, we would not only help them, but also create an echo that reaches more than just one user. So this is the assessment we had earlier last year. We needed to cover all 4 areas to be able to help each and every one of our 400 million users. And this is of course not only true for Firefox, but pretty much for every piece of consumer software or hardware at scale. So let me show you now what we did since last year in order to address those areas. I will start with the last one, social support, reaching out to users. We began experimenting with Twitter support in March last year already, and later that year we drew from that experience when we created a full campaign with an accompanying website to allow even otherwise not so active people to join us and help people on Twitter. And that's the army of awesome. Let me show you now how easy it is to reach out to users with this system, and you wouldn't believe how happy people are to get help when they didn't expect it at all. So the first thing after signing up is to choose a tweet you want to reply to from the list of tweets on the website. Then you can choose one of the pre-written signpost messages, which is automatically included with the username prefix and the hashtag at the end. You can then decide to customize the tweet or not and submit it to the website. Your reply then also appears on the website for others to see. This program has proven to be really successful. We had 3,600 sent tweets last month and 11,000 messages since it started 3 months ago. Then let's look at live support. This is actually something we have been pioneering already, and it's one of our most active support areas. People can use their browser to talk to a real helper in the chat session. No IRC client or anything. We didn't expect that at first, but we have a huge number of contributors to the live chat section. Most contributors cite the instant gratitude they get from people as the main reason they love to help in live chat. We help hundreds of people this way every week. The next area I mentioned was individual support, in our case in the form of a forum. We had a discussion forum before, but we realized that people looking for support definitely don't want a discussion. They want a solution to their problem. So we decided to create a new forum inspired by the likes of Yahoo Answers and Stack Overflow. Let me tell you how that forum works. First of all, we don't give people an empty box to ask their questions. We guide them through a questionnaire, making sure that people don't ask a question when there is already an answer. And also to make sure that we get all the info we need to help with the first answer, instead of having tiring back and forth questions after the first question. Probably even more important is the way we let people interact with the questions. You can vote for a question, basically saying, yes, I have this question too. But in this case, we can count those votes and show helpers which problem needs solving the most urgent. But since we aren't interested in discussions but solutions, people can also vote for individual answers. While only the person asking a question can mark an answer as solved the problem, others can vote for answers as helpful and making them more visible by that. All in all, this system helps our users a lot by sparing them the need to read through dozens of posts to find an answer. But it also allows our contributors to spend their time in the forums in the best way possible. Finally, the most important part of the system, the knowledge base. We thought long and hard about the knowledge base. We did have a knowledge base already, but it was far from perfect in a number of ways. In the end, it didn't scale with our demand, and we didn't see a way to adapt it. So we set out to write a new knowledge base completely from scratch with all the experience we had gained using our old KB. The result was just released in December last year. Let me show you the new knowledge base now. Already on the start page, you can see how flexible the new KB is. We show different content for Firefox 3.6 and the Firefox 4 Beta. The same goes for support articles. Only one document is used for different versions and operating systems. The differences are addressed with specific for tags in the source code. Documents are edited like in a wiki with MediaWiki syntax and can be submitted for review. They appear on a dashboard, and there is an easy approval process for reviewers. As I said, localization is key for us. So when approving an edit to the English article, you can choose what it means for localized articles, whether the edit only concerns the English article, typos for example, or whether the localizers and readers should be notified that the localization is outdated because of big changes. We've also thought a lot about localizing content and updating localizations. As a localizer, your dashboard shows you the status of your localizations, the importance of them by visitor numbers, and which ones need work. For articles needing updates, you see the relevant changes on top and the current English content on the left, so you can work within a single tab instead of juggling several of them. Another important part is discussing articles. And we went a different route here. Every article has its own forum behind the discussion tab, so it's easy to follow different topics. So Now we have the basic building blocks in place, but we are by no means done yet. In fact, now it's going to get really interesting. Now that we have the basics, we can set out to experiment and really improve upon what is already there. There are not many organizations that have to reach 400 million users, but that burden is also a chance. We really have the chance to pioneer this area and to show organizations how support can be done, even if you have a ginormous amount of users. We already have concrete plans for the immediate future, like building a messaging system and real social accounts that allow you to show you're belonging to a localization group or a support group. In the forums, we're going to introduce elements of games, like rankings, points for helpful responses, etc. Of course, with always keeping in mind that helping users is the actual goal and not to collect more points than others. We also want to use live chat more intelligently, for example by getting in contact with the users when they select "this article didn't solve my problem" in the forum below, a KB article. That way we can find out what we need to improve in the article to help more people. So this is the Mozilla support system. I hope you enjoyed the overview, and I would love to hear your comments and feedback on how to make it even better. And of course I would love to welcome you as contributors to our site. Thanks for watching.